Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you the first things that you can do on Motorola Edge 50 Ultra. So these will be some tips that you can implement on your device in order to fully set it up. And of course this is after the initial configuration, so after you have access to your home screen and the whole device in fact. So the first thing that you can do is open the settings, and in the settings you want to scroll all the way down and go to system updates over here. Now here we can go to check for updates in order to see if there is a newer version available to download. If it's not, then you will see this information that everything looks good and you can press got it. On the other hand, if there is an update ready to be downloaded and installed, then of course it is recommended to do so. Once we go through the system update, the next thing that we should do is go to security and privacy in the settings. And here we have several options, and the main thing that you probably want to do is go to device unlock. So if you tap on device unlock, then over here you can choose the screen lock. So if you didn't set up the screen lock yet, then you can do that over here. You can choose to just swipe. You can also use the pattern, pin code, or password. You can also disable the lock screen if needed by selecting none. And in addition to that, you can also set up the fingerprint over here and face unlock. They are really easy to complete. All you need to do is simply follow the instructions that are being presented on the screen. Additionally, you might want to make sure that every single option over here has the green tick. So if there is some recommended actions found for account security, then over here you can just take them. However, it is not really necessary. It's really up to you. And we can also go to more security and privacy in order to find, for instance, the notification on lock screen. So here you can decide if you want to show all notifications on the lock screen. You can also show sensitive content of notifications only when the device is unlocked. So if it's locked, then the sensitive content will not be visible, and you can just disable all notifications in the lock screen. It's really up to you. It's personal preference, of course. And after that we can go back. There we go. And now let's scroll up. Over here we can go to home and lock screen, and then we can go to lock screen in order to find also the same setting over here related to privacy. But here we have some options that are related to the lock screen. So here we can set up our lock screen as we wish. We can also go to customize in order to customize our lock screen. We can also go back and choose the home screen to do the same thing with the home screen. And we also have the control center, which is this one over here. So we have notifications, few buttons for the quick access, and then we have the full quick access with the power button settings and brightness. So this can be set up as well. So we have the classic style, and we can also switch to modern style, which looks like this. So if you swipe from the left side at the top, then you will open notifications and the quick access is not visible. But if you swipe from the right side, then you have this type of quick access. I'm gonna choose the classic style, of course, over here. So now once we are done with this, then we can go to battery settings, and there are lots of things that we should look into. So for instance, we can go to battery saver in order to enable and disable our battery saver manually, of course. And we can also use the standard battery saver or the maximum battery saver. And if you tap on this gear on the right side, then you also have additional options like adaptive performance. You have the option to turn off 5G, and then you can also choose essential apps over here. You can also set up the schedule in order to turn off the battery saver when you reach 90%. You can also turn on battery the battery saver when you reach a certain percentage over here. You can move the slider to set it up, and you also have the option to improve battery while the device is inactive. So the device uses AI to learn your behavior and limit background app while your phone is inactive. Pretty cool. But that's not it. Like I said, there's lots of things. We have the battery usage, which might not be useful right now, but later it might be useful to know that there is such a thing, and to find out which apps are using the battery the most. We also have the adaptive battery option that limits battery for apps that you don't use often. Then we also have the charge boost that can be enabled and disabled in order to charge our device faster. Then we also have optimized charging, So over here we can use AI to automatically set a healthy battery charging schedule, and then the device will not fully charge until about 1 hour before you are expected to unplug, and this will preserve the battery life. So this is pretty cool to use. Over here we can also read a little bit more about it. If you tend to charge a lot and forget that your device is charging, then it is definitely recommended to enable this option. We also have power sharing, and not only that, we also have slow charging notification, where we can receive a notification when your phone isn't charging optimally on your wireless charging stand. So this is used only for the wireless charging. We can also enable and disable the battery percentage over here in the top right corner if you want to see more. And we also have battery info, where we can learn a little bit more about our battery. Alright, so now that we have our battery covered, then we can go to personalize, where we have several different options related to the visual side of our device, like the lock screen and wallpaper. Sorry, not lock screen, the lock screen and home screen wallpaper. This is what I meant to say, where we can change it. We can also choose a new wallpaper over here. We also have themes over here, where we can choose one of the default themes here. We can choose a font, we can change the icon shape, we can change colors, and so on and so forth. So you can be sure to check that out in order to set the device as you wish. After that, we need to go to display settings, where we can enable and disable adaptive brightness. If you're a fan of adaptive brightness, then of course this should be enabled by default. However, if not, then you can disable adaptive brightness, and you can press brightness level in order to open the slider at the top, and then you can move the slider to the left and to the right in order to adjust the brightness manually. Over here you can also enable and disable the dark theme. Simple as that. We can also set up the schedule for the dark theme, and so on and so forth. And after that, we can go back. Here we go. And this time we're gonna go to gestures. Over here we have some options that might be useful. For instance, we can go to navigation mode in order to use 3 buttons at the bottom of the screen over here, or you can enable a gesture navigation in order to use gestures in order to navigate. However, I personally prefer to use 3-button navigation, so I'm gonna stick with them. And we also have, for instance, swipe to split the screen. We have 3-finger screenshots, some shortcuts related to buttons, kinetic gestures, and so on and so forth. For instance, the fast flashlight is definitely cool, and it should be enabled by default, so you can learn a little bit more about gestures over here. Then we can go to connected devices, and here we can go to connection preferences, where we'll find NFC. And if you want to use your device for the contactless payments, then you should definitely make sure that the NFC is enabled. Over here you can also make sure that the requirement for the device to be unlocked for NFC is enabled over here, and it is of course, for the safety reasons, better to turn on this option. So make sure that this one is on, and then you will need to unlock your device before you can actually pay with your smartphone. Pretty good stuff, pretty recommended, I would say. So once the NFC is enabled, then it's time to set up the card. So if you use credit or debit card, then you can open Google Wallet if you have. So you might need to go to the Google folder over here, and then here let's try to find the wallet. If it's not there, it might be still installing. So if you use Wi-Fi, then you might need to wait a couple of seconds or minutes actually in order to download the apps. If the app is missing regardless, then you can go to the Play Store, and then we can search for wallet, and this is the one that we want to use. So we can press install in order to actually install this app. So let's wait a couple of seconds, and eventually we should be able to open it. So with the NFC enabled and with the configured wallet, you can simply use your device after that. So we can press add to wallet, and then we can choose, for instance, payment card, and then we will need to take the picture of our credit card, or we can press enter details manually in order to enter the card number, press save, and then proceed with the instructions. So this is how you can set up the NFC and the wallet in order to use your phone as a method to pay for contactless payments. Alright, so now that we have NFC and Google Wallet set up, then we can go back to settings one more time, And this time over here we need to go to network and internet, and then over here if you want to use mobile data, then we need to make sure that this is actually enabled. So this might be turned off for some reason. If you want to make sure that you can use your SIM cards and mobile data, then of course you can turn it on over here. You can also tap on mobile data in order to find this slider here, and here you can also turn on or off the mobile data. You also have the data saver if needed, so you can restrict the unusual usage of your mobile data. So if you surpass certain amount of data, then you will be pretty much notified about it and probably prevented from using more. Over here we also have data, warning, and limit, where you can set up the warning and the limit as well. And finally, we're gonna go back to the home screen, and now we can swipe from the top to the bottom twice in order to open the quick access. So over here we have our quick access. We can swipe through different pages, and over here you have access to certain options that can be quickly enabled and disabled. For instance, the NFC over here, or the airplane mode, or the flashlight, and so on and so forth. However, you can also configure this quick access. You can press this pen icon over here in order to drag and drop new things over here. So for instance, you can, let's say, go to dark theme over here, press and hold it, and then drag it here in order to add it to the quick access. You can also remove unwanted things like power sharing, family space, or something else, or share feedback. So like so, and then share feedback is removed over there. You also have calculator, selfie camera, and so on and so forth. So anything that you might need to have quick access to, you can drop it over here. You can also rearrange these tiles by moving them by pressing and holding and then dragging it to a new space. And that's pretty much it. These are, I believe, the essentials that are good to know about in order to do as first on your device before you actually start enjoying your device. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and see you in my next videos. Bye.